Witness history in the making. The McIntyre Mini Globe Race 2025. Small boat, huge adventure.
Well, good morning, everyone. So it's Monday morning here, probably Sunday evening where you are, or Sunday afternoon or something. And we went to the Ocean Film Festival sort of show last night over at the Boat Shed restaurant and bar and all that sort of stuff, Sunset Bar, and it was amazing. It was really quite cool. A lot of people, sitting room only. So, an amazing venue out in the open there, and the breeze coming through. Not a full moon, but a big moon coming up, and it's pretty cool. So, it's going to be on again on the 26th. So, most of the boats will be in by then. The only two that shouldn't be in by then is John and Popeye. But everyone else should be here. Some may bug it off and cruise around the island, but it's very cool. And if all goes well, we'll get to show a couple other films here as well. We're talking about showing the 2018 Golden Globe race film called The Voyage of Madmen, which was really quite interesting. Anyway, so and we're going to have a conversation. We've only got Josh out there and Gary, plus Popeye and John down the back, and Coconut's having fun up the top. And a couple of a very interesting thing happened this morning when I got there. I'm going to get straight into it. Some of you will miss this, but I'll do the tracker first, and then we'll get into the conversation and see who actually turns up. But yeah, social media is it's a love-hate relationship for many people, and even from our perspective as event organisers, social media is a balancing act because of the nature of the events that we run. And certainly what I could say now before I get into some of the other subjects is that the Mini Globe Race is the only event that we run where we allow open slather on satellite communications. Everything's free to use. Whatever you want to do, just go and do it, and so on. And it's an interesting exercise because some people embrace it, some of the entrants embrace it, some of them don't. Probably, and you know that's basically what happened this morning. But I'll get into that. But first, let's just go and have a look at what's happening and where everyone is. So you're on the tracker. Hi, John. How are the films? Yeah, the films are good. So must be hearing me and seeing me, hopefully. So now if I hit that one, I'm on the tracker as well. So we're both here. And you can see we've got everyone on the one page at the moment. We got Mike up the back there, not going quite as fast as Popeye. Not going quite as fast as John. And they've both decided to go around over the top. They've got a nice breeze there. Mike is doing 3.5 knots and making an 80-mile day, so still quite pleasant. And John is doing 3.3 and also making an 87-mile day. So there you can see it. I'll just, I've lost my control panel here. I'll come back to that, pick this up, and you can see exactly what they're doing. They didn't want to go through the middle. Most of the people went through this little gap here. But John and Popeye, being John and Popeye, like doing their own thing. They're around the top. Oh, in fact, I saw them put a picture up. They put a picture up late yesterday on social media, and a slight comment saying they were over the top. That was from John, but there wasn't a share button, and it was late, and I didn't worry about sharing it yet. So maybe we'll hear some more later on. But at least it's pleasant sailing. Might not be fast sailing, but they're doing okay, and be super happy to get there. Mark's up over the top. I'm not sure where he's going. Maybe up here somewhere. He's on a cruise. Got his partner on board, so that's easy. Only enjoying the ride, no doubt. 4 knots. There'll be very smooth seas there. And here's Gary. Look at this. He's in his own hole once again. Anyway, poor bugger. And he's doing 2.6 knots. Oh, absolutely screaming. He did a 59-mile day, though. That's not bad, you know. That's at least you're on the move. But, yeah, he would much rather be doing 120-mile days for sure. And here, when you've got a hole like that, we've discussed this often, it might not be so squally, but let's have a look at the clouds here. Yeah, no, it's just it's just not a lot of wind, and at least it's a bit open. The wind is doing what it's supposed to do, and that's how you can tell. There's a bit of a hint that there's not as much squall activity. He'll probably prove me wrong. He's got nothing else to do, so he's probably watching this. Anyway, should be pretty calm. If we look at that, look at that, probably less than a metre. Currents, what do we got here? Currents, a little bit of it. Oh, you're heading for the head current there, Gary. Better level out and go to the west, because that's still running about half to three. That's maybe half to 3/4 of a knot there. And if you've forgotten the way we pick the colours, we come down the bottom of the screen here. Yeah, there's the yellowy colour there. So that's 8. If you're looking at the bottom of the screen, 0.8 of a knot. And so it's about half a knot, which is 12 miles in a day. So too late now, you can't really avoid it. Anyway, that's the current and rain. There could be a little bit, but we'll just have a look at this. No, not much rain. The rain's down the bottom there. So, but it's overcast. Temperature, I wonder what the temperature's doing. I haven't looked at that for a while. It's still warm, high 20s probably. Anyway, as I was saying, this is all the wind is going in the right direction around here. So it's a lot more stable than when you have up the top here, it's going northwest. Over here it's going northeast. Down the bottom here it's coming from the south. Then you've got all this super activity. There is a bit of a gradient in the isobars, localized, highly localized, but you're not seeing that. So I think he's just having a dull grey day, maybe, and not making super fast progress. While we're here, seeing it's Sunday, and it will only be those that are interested in Gary, but we're going to talk about social media, so get your bloody opinions ready. Everyone's got an opinion on social media, so have we. So that's what he's got there. Now, if we come through a day, what do we got? Oh, he's coming up. So there's a breeze coming from the south, and that'll swing to the southeast for sure. There it is. Yeah, it's still from the south, so that's not too bad. It'll be on the beam. We might get a bit wet there. That's holding south. Holding south in about 2 days. He'll be down here, and it's about 15 knots, so it'll be slapping on the side and might get a bit of spray. And what about day 3 or 4? Yeah, it's swung around to the southeast, so he's going to have a wet sail. He's going to have a slow day today. He might start moving in 24 hours or 36 hours, and then it'll be a day or so of wet sailing with spray coming over the deck. Maybe just spray, not blue water. Anyway, could always be worse. And Josh up here enjoying the ride, obviously, on just after the beam, making 4.6 knots and 68 mile a day. His likely weather coming forward, if we come forward a day, picking up. So he's going to speed up, which is good. So probably 100 miles tomorrow. And then he's going to get a good ride. And if I remember rightly, the last day, there might be a bit of strengthening yet. It's picking up, starting to go a little bit yellow. So he'll be screaming in at the last minute. And his distance from the finish right now is... he's going to Vavau, obviously. 200 miles. So, yeah, he'll be in 2 days. So today's Monday, so it'll be Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, sometime Wednesday midday, I reckon. Something like that. Maybe Wednesday afternoon, because it'll be still a slow day today. But only a couple of miles away. And Renaud gets away today in about, was it 8, 9, 10, 11, in about 3 hours or so. You'll see Renaud pick up. You'll see him on the move by the 12 o'clock position coming out. Or not 12 o'clock, it'll be midnight. It'll be 2400 hour tracker update, because these ones are 2000. So 2400 UTC, you'll see Renaud heading out. Hope he goes past Tafua. He can send us a report. So is Tafua smoking going off? That's the volcano, just as a reminder there. I'll show you what goes down here. We'll zip right in, because it is quite interesting, even to sail past. So Renaud, if you're thinking about it and it doesn't lose you any time, of course, you could go across here in between the two. That's Kona, which is like a very tip. Looks like a volcano, but it's not pumping like a volcano. It's just this vertical, like cone coming up. That's probably what it's called, Kona. And if we come down here, you'll see, I've shown you this before, but there's Tafua. This is the site of the mutiny on the Bounty, which is part of the reason we ended up having a big connection with Tonga and living there for many years and so on. So this is the active volcano, and I'll explain it to you. Hang on a sec, I'm trying to make it a bit bigger here. So this was the original caldera in here, but that's now extinct. It's not pumping away, and there's a huge lake in here. It's like Jurassic Park. You anchor your boat out the back here, come up here, jungle path, and quite pick it. But that's the hole with the lava lake in it, and it's always bubbling away. And it's quite amazing. It's got a roof on it. The roof has collapsed, so you have this spy hole, and across the top of the cone is a few hundred meters. It's not that big, and you can climb up. It's only a few hundred meters high. Once you climb down into the crater here, which is really challenging down in there, then you can climb back up into this vent, sit on the edge, and look in. But it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of volcanic activity going on right now, and as you know, the big explosion back in January of 22, which blew the place apart, wiped us out on the Mukaiki. It's the part of the ring of fire across the Pacific, and these volcanoes, the extinct one, there's another one further north, and there's another one a little bit further, and then there's Hunga, which is the one that sort of blew up. There's warnings coming out all the time saying that there's this underground pressure building, stay clear of this, that, and the other. So any of this stuff could go off big time at any time. And if you've seen the news with Etna and some of the other volcanoes around the world, there's lots of funny volcanic things going on. So anyway, but it's fun to sail past because you actually get to see the smoke coming off. You can hear the rumbling sometimes. There's a Bly's Cave, it's just down here, where they sought shelter and one of the guys was killed. But we won't go into that story now. So that's pretty much it for the tracker. And if I hit that, I come back here. Hi, John Doe. So no questions, that's easy. But before we go, there's no one watching, but that's life. Some people will watch the replay. Social media. I had the best report here from Josh, or Josh's manager, Kat. And this is what it read. It says, "Hi, Don. Josh is doing just fine, sailing the best he can in light wind. He's sailing to Vavau. I realised, and this is from his manager, I realise not much reporting, but there's just not much to report. He says every day's the same and just sailing along. He is just eating, reading, playing ukulele and keeping the boat clean. He's looking forward to arriving in Tonga in a few days." So I thought that was the best report that I've ever had from a manager. It's exactly right. And I know even when I was sailing across on the Transat back in 21 in Trekker, all we had to do then, it was under restriction sort of thing. You didn't have Starlink, you didn't have all the other bits and pieces, and all you had was to do your tweets. You had to do at least one tweet a day, and so you'd just say, "Yeah, all good," big winds or calm seas or whatever. And even that was a pain sometimes because you had to break your momentum or your psychology or your ambiance. You get in the groove, and the groove might be anything. It's just life on board. And it's like, cheapers, I've got to do a bloody track, but the issue is, I've frozen screen here. I hope you're still getting me. That it just breaks your concentration. Why has it done that? I hope. Oh, we're back again. Okay. It takes you away. Takes you to the outside world, and and the opposite. And so for me, it was a distraction. And as you probably know, our Golden Globe race is no comms at all. You just get your HF radio, and there's extreme isolation in that, to the extent that if they're not talking to their entrance on the radio, they won't know where they are. They're not getting world news. They can listen to the receiver and things like that, but they really are in their own world, and that's part of the reason that the GGR is so unique. That it is extreme isolation. Everything about the GGR is ugly, hard, gruesome, psychologically demanding. It's the most gruesome challenge you could ever possibly want to do. Okay, and that's part of the attraction. So you come to the mini globe race, and Urton Urton's the one which is the most extreme. And as you probably know, Urton had challenges with the isolation of the GGR. not being able to ring family and friends. And now he's just running his life like normal on the on Tracker. He gets up in the morning. He opens up Starlink. He does his business calls. He's got a very cool little business. Not little, it's a very cool business with military regalia and medals and uniforms and stripes and ceremonial swords, all this sort of stuff. It's very cool. So he gets online and makes his calls and works out all the business stuff, does the banking, and then he'll do the rounds of his family calls. He'll ring his wife a couple of times a day. He'll check out the latest news online, do all the bits. In the meantime, he's still sailing the boat, doing his things. And absolutely, I think it's fair to say Ayrton is having a ball. He's living his joint dream because that's what he wanted. He loves little boats. He's sailing solo around the world, and yet he's online living his normal life, which is fantastic. That's what he wants to do. Then the opposite end of the structure is Josh. It's very clear to see that Josh is in his own world and absolutely loving it. He's his own man. He enjoys the solitude, no doubt, and he's living his dream. And I can imagine his boat will be spotless. He's got everything he needs on board to achieve that task. He hasn't got extras on board. And so then you roll over to Jacob. Jacob's got his whole life on board. It's sort of home. He lives on the boat, and he's got his hunting gear. He's got a library. He's got his bits and pieces. So there's this contrast of people and what they want to achieve. And then if we come back and talk about us and our attitude towards social media and running our events, we talk about, just as a bit of fun, we talk about the algorithm and like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, because it helps us with the algorithm and so on. The whole I don't know what happened there. We completely lost it. I'll just see if anyone's there. Someone want to? Yeah, lost you. Someone want to tell me whether we're back again? It says it's still running. There's someone else. Maybe Jane just got on. She's not here at the moment, but I don't know what happened. I'm back. Okay, now I've completely lost my train of thought. Things are social media ads and other. Anyway, so that's the whole focus. We put in a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of passion into running these events with the sole purpose, as I said, of inspiring people to get them out. Adventure makes good people. That's our contribution back to the world, and we enjoy that. It's just sharing, things like that. And so I treat social media as like our own news program. Okay, it's like news. It's the way of getting it out there. So we don't go overboard. Well, I don't believe we do anyway. The standing joke was when we got on, because the world's changed rapidly in the last 4 or 5 years, like hugely with social media. And we were leaving Papeete. We bought this boat, Adventure. We're leaving Papeete, and it just, some people might want to see the boat. So we did that sort of 45-minute walkthrough on this boat, so people Beneteau 423 while we're doing it, and every second time we're saying, "Don't worry, we're not going to start a YouTube channel. We're not going to do the whole thing like some of the others. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because even I enjoy watching some of them. But it's just like a news channel, just sharing it, boom, and it's not the whole focus in our life, but it's important because it is. Everyone's a journalist now, everyone's a filmmaker, everyone's thinking, and that's a good thing because some people might want to watch it. So I think social media is a good thing, but you need to use it and not get stuck and carried away with it. And don't necessarily believe everything you can. There's this huge transition at the moment going on with AI, right? And I love it when you get these crazy AI video clips, right? And there was one, I nearly shared it here, and I nearly shared it on all the channels just yesterday. It was a shot of a yacht, and it looked like normal coming out of a river, and it looked normal. And then all of a sudden, it gets totally outrageous, where there's this huge wave, and the yacht sails up this massive wave, and so you can obviously see it's AI, right? And it was kind of cute and fun and blah blah blah. The ones that really amaze me is that there's a lot of I'm seeing more and more of it, and everyone else is probably as well. Again, I think I have no idea what's going on at the moment. I think I'm back. Anyway, it breaks that. So I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. I'll go through the bits and pieces. But anyway, so finally, the other thing for me to say, just on the way we treat it with entrants, it's really up to them. We have clauses in the notice of race that they have to, you know, offer, report what they're doing, just so we've got information that we can show you what's going on. But we very rarely enforce that. If someone wants to go dark, they can go dark, like I just did, and not report anything. I think I'm still there. It's showing I am. So there's no real pressure. But that even that, we try to work out. I've got the Golden Globe race coming up again now in 26 after this one, and we're trying to get a major international series up with hundreds of millions of viewers. And if we do, we'll be looking for volunteers within the GGR fleet. We want sort of 6 or 7 of the skippers that are going to expose their life dramatically, and actually, we'll be getting that material off the boats. Not live, but it'll be a big change if we do it. The mini globe race will always be this way. It'll always be open communications, and people can do what they want, because it's pretty tough being on a little boat all that way. And I think that's just part of the fun, because people think, crikeys, they're in little boats, and we're doing lives and interviews off these little minis. That's cool. And the OGR, we're still looking at the balance, but Starlink will be compulsory in the OGR, but we control it. We'll be able to control the router, so it can only be uploads, no downloads. And so we have some controls on what that's be used for. Anyway, I digress, but interested in what people think, and I'm happy with the balance that we have at the moment with social media, and it seems to be working. So there you go. Anyway, if you, yep, I'm still here, so 8:50. So if anyone's got their own comments on that, whether you think we're doing enough or not enough, it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, we treat it for what it is, right? We treat it as a news service, or not news, but it's just no one's, because the other thing that happens is you can get addicted to it, and then you start to distort the truth, and you start to do things just for social media. And we're not seeing that at the moment. People are just telling the story as it is. It's all real, and it's kind of fun to watch. So, but sometimes now online, you've probably seen the same. Oh, the guy with the cat, that's a real classic. I forgot his name now. I brought it up the other day. He's sailing. He went to Hawaii from America with, effectively he'll end up with millions of followers and stuff. It's big news. And the funny part is I haven't watched him for a while because he's in Hawaii, but that was all backed by his brother or whatever it is. That's a bit of a in the industry and connections to get him on, and some highly produced social media clips. Now even every time I look, they're highly produced, but they're cool. That's like entertainment, and you know what it is. You know what you get. So it's like watching TV. I've never even had a TV for the last 10 years or something, but that's what people used to do. They used to watch entertainment. So the guy's cool. He's got a good camera presence, and they're producing this stuff. It's a story. It doesn't have to be real. There's a lot of sailors there that are a bit miffed because, crikey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I only get 20 followers. This guy's got 500,000, and all he's doing is being a pussy with a pussy, So there's a lot of fun stuff there. But anyway, keep it real. That's part of the deal. So, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. But that was all because of Josh's post. No pressure, Josh. You won't be seeing this until you get back, maybe. But we like the fact that each entrant has a different attitude towards Starlink and to what they're doing, and I'm sure they're enjoying the. Well, they are. You can see it. They love it, and some do it a lot, and some do it a little bit. So it's just taking control of it. Don't let it control you. Go from there. The films were good, by the way, John. And g'day, John Doe. Thanks for all the effort you put into the updates, Don. Given all the downwind sailing, is there a reason why a symmetric spinnaker isn't allowed in the class rules? Yeah, to save money. They've already got 3 options for spinnakers. So, and part of the deal, when I came up with, when I sailed across on Tracker, I thought we're missing one because you need, the downwind thing, and you need, something for strong trade winds to pull from the front. And so I thought, okay, and I imagine I worked out exactly what we needed to have, and that's the A7. And the beauty of the A7 is, and the thing that surprised me the most, is the entrance using the A7 is like a code 0. It's not quite a code 0. It's not cut that shape, but you can actually climb up wind with it. And so if you're in light winds, and you should have full main and jib, as long as you're not hard on the breeze, you can get rid of your jib and put the A7 up, and it's like this big lightweight Genoa. It's about 2.5 ounce cloth or something, and so it's good for an upwind Genoa. But then the beauty of it is, and there was some discussions. I remember having discussion with Kerry and a couple of others and said, there's going to be all this downwind. We need a normal symmetric kite just to pull us like downwind. And I said, no, you don't. You just put 2 of your bloody asymmetrics up, one each side, and it's effectively the same thing. And so there's really, I've cancelled that idea. It was an interesting discussion to have because I always keep an open mind. I listen to what the sailors are saying and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, purely for money reasons, why get another bloody spinnaker when effectively running downwind with 2 of them up is the same thing? So it works. It might not be as cool, but it's also got the advantage if you get hit by a big squall, you can get rid of them really quickly because they're furling it up. There's no furler for a symmetric kite going downwind. You can't put any roller on it at all. You can put a sock on it, I suppose, but then you've got to be up on the bow, and you wait on the bow means the boat's rudder's not working so well because the boat's like this, and that's going to screw around and all this sort of stuff. So, A, it saves money. B, it's not needed. And C, with 2 little ones making one big one, you can get rid of one if there's a big squall coming and probably ride through it. Right, and so if it stops, you can put it back up again, and if it doesn't stop, you get rid of one, and then you can always get rid of the next one. So if you're lucky, sometimes it doesn't work, but you can see the concept. So we that's it. We've settled on the sails. We don't need any more. There'll never be any more. That's the class selection, and you can decide how many you need. If you're doing the Transat, you may not even need the 3 of them, but that's up to individual choice. Are a few of us dreamers here? I hope so. I used to do a lot of talking with schools and stuff, and the biggest thing that I saw was the amount of effort that goes into squashing kids' imagination. Right, it's really sad. They're all structured, and this is the way you should act, and da 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 da. And you've got to have a colourful imagination, thinking crazy things, because that's where the dreams start from. If you don't have an imagination, right, you'll never have any dreams, because you can't create the wildest dreams. Like I was always sort of, wow, you're going to space one day, and blah, blah. Of course you can't, but you could, and I tried. It's another whole story. I got very close, but now you can buy a ticket if you got the money, of course, but you couldn't back 50 years ago. Anyway, so imagination is the first thing. If you haven't got imagination, you'll never have a dream. Imagination's got to say, oh, I can be anything I want, blah, blah, blah. And so then start thinking a bit more realistic and say, oh, I could be that too, which is hard, challenging. But if the dream's there, everything's possible. So I really hope you're dreamers. And if you don't have dreams, you'll never get there. That's the whole thing. I get, so many times people say, oh, you're crazy, you'll never get that. Or you won't be able to do that. A lot of it we did. But it starts with the dream. So, in fact, I still remember I used to get into trouble at primary school. The teacher sometimes, you're just a silly dreamer, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, hi, Lisa, watching on Facebook. Cool. All good for the thing. I hope we don't drop out again. I don't know what's causing that. Checking in from Chesapeake. So glad you're afloat. Yeah, me too. It's a good feeling, although you wouldn't want to see the boat at the moment. There's just stuff everywhere. Anyway, that's cool. Hi, Rachel. Hi, John. Yep, I've gone again. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened there. Anyway, so Sean, I think the social media adds another dimension to sailing solo and sharing it with the world. Love watching the GGR, though. Yeah, you're right. And the connection there with the GGR goes like this, that it'll always be restricted on media, because people now, you do exactly what we're doing. You and I are looking at all this through our eyes and on the screen. And when that happens, it goes from your eyes, the screen, to your eyes, straight to your brain, right? And with the GGR, all you get is these tweets every day. You get these little tweets. You get a weekly phone call or twice weekly phone call for 15 minutes or something. And when you see the reports coming through, you've got to close your eyes and think about and imagine what's happening, right? You don't get the whole story. You get enough to feel what's going on and with our reporting and stuff, but you don't get to see it as often. And so you got to close your eyes and imagine it. And what that does is it gets you emotionally involved. People don't realize it. It's like audiobooks. Audiobook sales are going like that. They're crazy because people get to just shut their eyes, listen, and imagine. They build the character from what they're hearing from the words. And that it circumvents your eyes. It's got nothing to do with your eyes. It goes through your body, and you can get really wrapped up and involved because your imagination of that character, of the guy and what he looks like and stuff like that when you're being told it, may be completely different than what Jane will have a completely different perspective of what she believes that guy looks like, but who cares? It's what you perceive to be happening. And we get on the GGR so many people saying that our events are more alive than all the live events, right? Like the Vendée Globe and this, that, and the other. No disrespect to the Vendée Globe, love it, right? But it's different. And there's a difference between alive, when you're involved, emotionally connected, and it's all happening, to actually live. When it's live, you just sit there and watch it. And say, oh, yeah, cool, that's fine. Because it just goes straight from your eyes to your brain, and it's done. But when you get into it, and all of a sudden you do it, you have a lot of passionate followers for the GGR. A lot of people hate it too. I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to sailing, but that's life. You can never please everyone all the time. Anyway, so yeah, it's good. Great. Now I have to go to work on the car. Have a great day. I am. Good on you. I am. Thanks for that. We're back. Oop, dark again. Yep, you're here. Thanks everybody for the feedback. Better than any soapy, absolutely. And boy, I got to tell you, if you knew the backstory of the OGR, you would be stunned. All we could think of was our management team. There was me and Georgie and Jack and Ada and Jane and blah 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 and Rob and stuff. We were kicking ourselves. We never started filming the OGR from our side of it in the background. Okay, everything that went on there, it was unbelievable. And to the point that one of the team, and I won't mention names, suggested we should write a novel about the OGR and all the things that were happening during the race. And I'll give you a bit of a breaking story. If I told you I had a serious death threat to me, right, You probably wouldn't believe it. So many things went on in the background of the OGR. It was unbelievable. It was better than any soapy you could ever imagine. And the theory is that maybe one day there could be a novel that comes out about that. Anyway, that's another story. Lots of fun stuff going on. So yeah, it's really amazing, and it has its place. No sound at the moment. No sound. Good balance, spot on, much appreciated. Okay, thanks for that. Rathland, bit of a circus, really. Yeah, it is. Yep, I agree. But that's the fun part, and you get to experience some of that. Great philosophy. Oh, thanks, Rachel. With my own boat, that looks like a 580. Ah, the sailing boy. Oh, yeah. I remember that. I remember that. I saw your boat. It's great. Hope it's going well. I hope you sorted out the bits and pieces. So good luck with that. And I saw your social media it's growing, obviously. So what have the sailors got to look forward to in Fiji? Doing nothing for a few weeks. That's the biggest thing. You get to forget about the weather. You forget about everything else, and can relax and reboot. Because whilst it's not halfway through the trip around the world, it is absolutely a turning point. From here, psychologically, most of the people from Europe and America and bits and pieces, they will absolutely feel as if they're not sailing away from home anymore. They're actually heading back towards home. It's a turning point. So the psychology is different, and there's a lot of things to do here. You can do stuff without money, or if you've got a bit of money to spend, you can go and do things as well. If I was here and in my little boat, this sort of thing, you're probably sick of your little boat, but there's some fantastic cruising, some little anchorages and villages and stuff like that, not that far sailing away. You can get a cruising permit, because once you arrive here, you can't just get in your boat and bugger off. You've got to, once you clear customs, you then have to apply for a cruising permit. They like to know where you're going and what you're doing, what areas. So you just say, I'm going to go cruising this area here, and they say, yep, there you go for it. And so there's some fun stuff to go swimming, snorkeling, hanging out. It doesn't cost anything. It's reasonably cheap living here. The markets are really good. Bus trips fun into town, into Lautoka, and the people are super friendly, super smiley, super happy. And it's very genuine. It's really a friendly place, a different culture. A lot of Indians here and there, similar scenario. The Indians came in hundreds of years ago to work the sugar cane farm stuff, and now there's Indians everywhere, born here. They've been here for generations, so to speak, and they're super friendly, super fun. And we sadly heard that Abdul, we had our favourite taxi driver here. We'd be coming here for 6 or 7 years, and Abdul was our crazy taxi driver. He was always wheeling and dealing. He'd come in the marina here and he'd buy stuff and sell stuff. And he passed away. It was a real shock. We haven't been here for 4 or 5 years. And we said, "Where's bloody Abdul?" And one of the other taxi drivers said, "Oh no, he died." And so there you go, life, eh? Anyway, so Adrian, this stuff is magic. Face blue, smiling, cool. Thanks, Adrian. Great adventure. Love your commentary. You're in our timeline, Sydney. Sydney, perfect. Finally seeing your broadcast live. Good on you, Jim. That's cool. It does make a difference, I suppose. That's why we try to be about the same time every time. Being live, we're connected, but the replay's still fun, I suppose. Great adventure. Love your commentary. I got that. Boom. What challenges are the sailors potentially going to face en route to Fiji? Very low. This one's just a little sprint, I suppose. It's about 450, 500 miles. And they've got to sail through the outer islands, but they've all got GPS chart plotters and things, so that's easy to miss, touch wood. And generally, they're still following the trade winds. The biggest challenges will be some wind anomalies when they get very close. We sort of did this on purpose. The finish line is just off the marina here, off Fuda Marina. And so once you get through the outer reef and you're into the inner lagoon, there's these massive mountains. It's not quite like French Polynesia and so on. It's obviously a little bit older, this countryside, in millions of years terms, but there's big mountains there. And so we're sitting in the lee of the trade winds, and there's a real wind shadow there. So it's going to be challenging for them once they get into the lagoon to get to the finish line. But that's part of the challenge of the race. So there's a few challenges there, but not too much, just enough to make it fun. Loads of waffle. Can't you just cut to the chase? I just like like social media. It's a news source. So there you go. Thanks, Sailor Susan. All right, that's it. We're done. And we'll see you tomorrow if all goes well, and Renault will be underway. So see you later. No, I'm still going. Jane.
History in the making. The McIntyre Mini Globe Race 2025. Small boat, huge adventure.